Business ownership has never been hotter, but how do you do it? That's where I come in. Allow me to guide you on your journey. Welcome to Ion Franchise. This episode sponsored by SEO Samba. Empower your franchise with predictable results and AI-driven marketing. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another fabulous episode of Ion Franchising. I'm your host, Lance Gralick, and today we're going to talk about a great emerging brand that, man, is killing it, selling territories in a niche that is hot, because really nobody else is doing this. So welcome, Michael Hartel. He's the founder and CEO of Cabinet IQ. Michael, welcome.
Thank you, Lance. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I am excited to hear your story. And how did it all come about? How did Michael get in the crazy world of franchising and cabinets and all that good stuff?
Yeah, sometimes I ask myself that question. It's interesting how I landed where I landed. I'll back up and say that my professional career started as a PhD research scientist.
What?
Right. So I got a PhD in nanotechnology development from the University of Florida. So for grad school for me was an amazing time in my life where I got to do a lot of creative academic studies, meaning research, publishing papers, traveling the world. It was an amazing creative time in my life. And at the end of academia, I got a job and all of the creative freedom ended. So I didn't really realize this until I had a job 2 years in working for Intel up in their R&D headquarters in Portland, Oregon. And one day I kind of looked around and said that I'm not like everyone else here. And I just really felt like my creative juices got drained as soon as they gave me two computer monitors, told me what TPS reports to write on a weekly basis, and really didn't. I wasn't really in my zone of comfort, which is learning, growing, developing research. So large corporation, I was just a very small cog in the wheel, and it kind of caught up to me after the honeymoon phase of a new city, new job. I was making good money, but none of that mattered when you wake up on a Sunday morning and realize that the next day you have to go to work. And then you wake up on that Monday and then drag yourself out of bed, show up at work, and then you're just checking your watch until 5 o'clock and you can go home. So it was really a drag for me. I left Intel to come to Austin, Texas, where I am currently, and I started working at Samsung. So Samsung is Intel's competitor in that space. So very similar job scope, a little bit better pay, more sunshine. It was really good for a couple of years during that time of year or that time of my life. But again, that same feeling of not feeling fulfilled crept in pretty fast.
Yeah.
So I started flipping houses. That's how I ended up in construction, doing real estate construction, which led to me helping other people remodel their homes. And really, I left my job knowing that I was very safe in real estate investing. I had clients and repeat customers doing remodels. So I basically left a pretty good mid six-figure a year salary with benefits and 401k and all the happy things that comes with corporate America. And
Didn't
I
sound
quit.
so happy the way you described it.
Yeah. And one day I just said, this is enough. And I dove straight into entrepreneurship. And I'll never forget the day that I came home and sat on my couch and thought to myself, what did I just do?
Yeah.
The next morning I was at Home Depot at 6 o'clock in the morning getting supplies for a job site. And my whole life changed at that point. But since then, it's been about 8 years, and I love what I do. There's not a day that I feel like I'm working. This is just a really beautiful life that we're going through, and super happy to be in this industry specifically. You asked how cabinets, and it's really because
So give me that big segue. You made the leap. So the cabinet space per se wasn't formed yet, if you will, but give us that segue.
sure, there was a time as a contractor that I had three projects back to back to back that were complete disasters in the cabinet space. So cabinets, I feel like, is the one industry that hasn't been attacked from professionals that have gotten it figured out. I feel like electrical have it pretty dialed in, plumbers, HVAC. There's large national companies that really are dialed in on their systems, their processes, their SOPs. And I realized that cabinets are still being operated like it was a 1990s business. A lot of pen and paper, no CRMs, no marketing systems, no search engine optimization. But for me, the disaster was around people showing up and doing a good job. That's all I wanted was
Yeah.
for them to show up and do what we agreed on. And I had a few projects that they would just not call me, not show up. Then they would show up and bring half the stuff that we agreed on. So I got into kitchen design the summer of 2016. I locked myself in a office, and I said I'm not leaving until I understand how to do this on my own.
Yeah.
So I spent the summer teaching myself kitchen design. I found a material supplier that would ship me the cabinets after they were designed, and I just started doing my own projects. And it took me a long time to install. I wasn't a professional, but I knew how to do it the correct way, and I wanted to make sure I knew how to do it with my own hands.
And you had nanotechnology on your side.
Had nanotechnology on my side. I feel like there's a lot of lessons in being creative and doing research and systems optimization and processes. But now I'm installing cabinets, so it's a completely different field with just a different take on it. So yeah, installing cabinets on my own, and I would take pictures of it, show it to my friends who are contractors. I started doing their projects, then their neighbors' projects, and around 2017, this whole thing blew up in a good way, where I was getting phone calls from people I never met, and I knew I was onto something.
Yeah.
So fast forward 7 years later of not making the same mistake twice and really building up systems and processes and getting feedback from customers on how to
Right.
have a better experience. We're in a really good shape to take this business model and have it work in other cities.
So, Michael, the phone started ringing, and that's when you said, I need my own cabinet company. I really need to launch this thing nationwide. Is that how it happened?
Not exactly. I knew that that was a local solution for us here in Austin. So I opened up one brick and mortar store here in Austin, built it up to the point where it was running itself. I had a sales team and operations team, solid standard operating procedures so that I could run a business as a business owner. And then I wanted to open up another store. So we opened up our second location in 2021. I'd consider it a completely separate market. It's actually about 45 minutes away from our other store. So different market, a little bit of a different clientele base. I just wanted to see if it could work in another market, and it did. It's a profitable location. And at that point, I had two locations that were running themselves, and I started looking into honestly researching business growth. That was the first time in my life that I felt like I wanted to expand, and I was just doing my own research on what growing a business looks like. And I stumbled across franchising, and
Yep.
I think most people understand the word franchise. They know maybe what the word is. They recognize the word, but they don't know the details of the franchisor franchisee relationship. And
Yeah.
and reading all about it, I immediately was like, this is the most pure form of win-win in business, and such an incredible way to
Yeah.
build a brand with a team where everyone's committed to the mission. And I just got super excited and didn't know what I needed to do next. So I hired a consultant to help me come in and do some viability studies and get everything prepared, file an FDD, and get launched.
Yeah.
So here we
That's awesome.
are, growing, and it's super excited to see our business model work in other markets.
So share with everybody what Cabinet IQ is all about. So you've described a lot. So it's kitchen cabinets, bathroom cabinets. What are all your specialties? Countertops?
Sure. So we just do two products. We do cabinets and countertops, and they're mostly for residential purposes. We don't do a lot of commercial projects. The commercial projects that we're into are more for um, their residences, but they're just a lot of units. It's also considered commercial.
Yeah.
I don't confuse that, but residential cabinets for proud homeowners. We take a step back and give them kind of an overview of cabinetry in general, and then let them choose what's best for their home. I feel like a lot of cabinet companies, they make that decision for you without having a lot of understanding. And let's not forget that people do this once in a lifetime. This is a big emotional investment. It's a big
Yes.
monetary investment. Our average kitchen's around $40,000. Our average ticket, $40,000. It's not uncommon to get into the 50, 60, 80, slightly over $100,000 per ticket for our company, which means that we need to take a step back and really explain what we're doing and not just sell someone something. So
Yeah.
we have some pretty nifty sales tools to guide a customer through that process and do some really quick budgeting, which I've found to be a problem in our industry. If you go to a cabinet company and you ask, well, how much is this going to be? They say, well, pay me and then I'll tell you, or we have no idea. It's kind of confusing when you're first getting started,
We'll
especially
send you a
when,
bid in a couple of weeks.
right? Yeah. Yeah, there's just a lot of products, and we remove a lot of that confusion for our customer with our process.
Yeah,
So that's super
that's
dialed
great.
in. We have get better and best cabinet lines, and just a really good system of working people through the process.
All right. So now fast forward, you have some franchisees already. You've given birth to a couple of franchisees, so to speak, and brought them in the family. So what is that like, and who are you looking for? Who is an ideal franchisee? And talk about that investment.
Sure. So our stores that are open are Huntsville, Alabama, and Fort Myers, Florida. And we have 8 others in development right now that have signed and are currently going through training and building out their showrooms. So, who are we looking for? We're looking for someone that aligns with our core values as a company. So, number one, create a positive impact. This industry, we're actually making a big difference in people's lives, even though it's through kitchen remodeling. It's a very emotional feel. They want to feel happy and inviting in their own space. So, create a positive impact is number one. We want them to be involved in their community through community service projects and such. Be a lifetime student is number two. So we want them to continually learn and understand the ongoing trends and technology. Mind the details is number three. So calling people back on time, how the showroom looks, how we design, all the documentation is super important. So mind the details. Take accountability for your actions and inactions is number four. And do what's right, not what's easy. So those are all our core values. We want people to align with those first and foremost. We're looking for someone that wants to come in and respect the process and build a big business by respecting that process. It's totally fine to ask questions about why we do stuff, but I guarantee we have answers for you on every little point of why we do something a certain way or why something might take a little bit longer than everyone else is doing it. It's really to double and triple check the work. And at the end of the day, someone that's going to lead a team and have a sales mindset to get customers across the finish line and build a big business for themselves that they can be proud of.
Sounds great. Now, in these early franchisees that you have in place, the two open and multiple already coming, looking for showrooms, as you said, who are these people? If you were going to kind of line them up, are they from all walks of life? I mean, I'm assuming none of them are contractors.
None of them are contractors, interestingly enough. And I'm pretty sure I don't have the data to support it, but my gut tells me someone that comes in with no experience at all is probably going to be more successful than someone that comes in with 20 years of experience that thinks they can do it the way that they used to
And
and
and tell
get.
me why that is. Tell the audience why that is.
I think that they're just going to come in with bad habits and skip important steps, and they're obviously in a place in life where they're looking to buy into a company that's got it. I hate to say it, but more or less figured out of how to design a 5-star experience for a customer. They're going to come in and think that they don't need to do things, and it's going to end up not going well for them and for the customer. So people that come in with a fresh mind, an open mind, following a process, if they follow everything to a T, they're going to be successful. It's just a matter of just following the process and making
Yeah.
sure that things are going to go well for them.
I love that. So, for those listening, every great brand throughout the franchise selection process, the brand will present the franchise disclosure document. And in there's 23 very helpful items. So let's talk about item 7, the investment. What is the investment generally? Just an average or so.
The average is between 190 to 280,
Okay.
190,000 to 280,000. It really depends on where they find the real estate and just some other items in there as well.
Right. And pretty much everybody's going to lease the space. And the square footage for this showroom is roughly how big?
1,800 square feet, and that includes the offices and the bathroom. Anywhere
Okay.
between 1,800 to 2,000 are the places that we've found for our franchisees so far.
And the franchisees how much construction are they doing? This is manufactured elsewhere and they're just doing the install, their team. How does that work?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's actually a very simple business as far as the team and the process. And what I mean by that is starting out this company, you need one person doing the design for the cabinetry who's also the salesperson. So it's a design slash salesperson role, and then the one person managing the operations side. So it's two people to start, and there's support on both sides actually. So there's support for the kitchen designer from corporate to help with any troubleshooting on designs. We also have an offshore design department that's going to help them basically facilitate a lot of these designs and do 95% of the work ahead of time to help facilitate more sales.
That's
On the
awesome.
operations side, we also have a way to work with a subcontractor. So you kind of blend the cabinet IQ process with the technical experts in that local area.
Yeah.
We've also partnered with some countertop manufacturers that are national, and you have to be certified to even work with their material. So we have a list of the national vendors that install the types of material. So I recognize labor is one thing that everyone talks about. It's kind of a hot topic in the industry, how to find skilled labor. It hasn't been an issue yet. I'm going to knock on wood and say that we've been able to find these franchisees great help in their local markets, and it's through just the methods that we've produced that work for us locally. And yeah, it's just a matter of getting them to shake the bushes, find the right people, and deliver the right messages to get them to want to work for Cabinet IQ.
I said it on a call earlier this morning. I still feel that great leaders can attract great employees and keep them as well. So I know there's still a problem out there, and some people are having difficulties. But kudos to you guys. So
I
let's
think
talk a
one
little bit
that
about the selection process. A broker like me or sends you people. You put them through your process to determine if they're right for you. Obviously, franchising is a two-way street. Everybody has to like each other. Talk a little bit about the selection process and do you give them a hammer and see what they can do? I'm just kidding. I know that that's not part of it.
Sure. Our selection process. So we work with Franchise Fastlane. They're going to go through the Franchise Fastlane process. So it's really an initial call, a review of the concept, FDD review, the reviewing the financial disclosure documents. They're going to come to Austin after a founders call with me. We're going to meet one on one on Zoom and just get to know each other. I have my favorite questions that I like to ask to make sure they're going to align with our core values. They come to Austin and enjoy a day with us to see, under the hood, under the technology that we have, our technology package, meet the team. And at that point, it's a mutual decision, yes or no. So typically by
Right.
the time they come to Austin, we have even more cool stuff to show them and they leave, ready to sign and get going. So it's been really fun to see people come to Austin and get even more excited, even after having all the information ahead of time.
Yeah. It's great to see it. We're in such a Zoom society, but to see it is a different story. So take us through the next stage. So there's mutual consent from both parties. We sign, we're ready to go. What is training like? Onboarding and training.
Yeah, onboarding, training, and then also continually educating them and having some support afterwards is super important. So we start immediately. We have weekly calls with our franchisees when they sign. So we have a onboarding coordinator that's going to walk them through basically two different tracks. One is the real estate track to get that open to identify the building. Corporate does the design. The franchisee will get a contractor to build out the space. The build out actually isn't that big, really. If you take a white box, you're going to put up a couple walls and then install a couple of cabinet vignettes. You're not building kitchens, you're not building functional kitchens.
Right.
So the build out is actually a lot less than people think it is once they understand what we need to do. So one track is we partnered with a national real estate team to help them identify the property. They sign the lease. We get to work on the design, order the cabinets. They can install them and open their store. That's the one track. And they do that in parallel with the systems onboarding, vendor onboarding. We have a 6-week course. We use Trainual to go through the onboarding and training.
Great.
And they basically learn the systems. Once they're finished with their online training, they come to Austin for 1 week. And after that, they basically have a license to go sell cabinets. They're able to go back in their market we turn on the lead machine and they're in people's homes selling product even before their showrooms open. So for us, it's basically 100 days. We'd like to see them make their first sale within 100 days of the signing of the franchise agreement. Their
Great.
showroom will be finished. It'll be well on its way, but we want them taking reps in people's houses and selling products and service before the showroom opens.
Great. Yeah, I like that you turn on a lead machine. People listening got really excited saying, Michael, I want that lead machine. So let's go to let's switch gears to the show me the money part of the show, which for those that are listening that don't know, the item 19 is the earnings claim that if franchisors are going to put something in there, that's where it's going to be. And it's not mandatory, but great brands are showing something. So, Michael, let's talk a little bit about the numbers.
Sure. So our item 19 is very strong, in my opinion. It's something that we're proud of. We basically have a full P&L inside of our item 19. So we've reported earnings of 2.4 million per unit, and taking out royalties and any sort of national ad fund, we show around a 16% net profit on it.
Yeah,
So I think it's very strong. It's
great
definitely,
numbers.
I think it's a very strong, and I'm looking forward to seeing other franchisees kind of come in and ramp up to that as well.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the validation process. I mean, obviously the numbers are very strong because people listening are like, all right, I'm going to invest a couple 100,000, maybe get an SBA loan, get this thing launched. What kind of money can I make? Just at $2 million. I mean, that's very, very impressive and a healthy ROI, especially for the low employee count. I know you're gonna grow and scale. Have people purchased multiple territories?
They have, and I think it's a smart move. And what I mean by that is we are allowing up to three territories with one brick and mortar store.
Great.
So a territory is 100,000 owner occupied homes. So you end up with a territory size that you can service of 300,000 owner occupied homes. It's just the national statistics are that people remodel their kitchen every 20 years. So that means you end up having 15,000 kitchen remodel opportunities per year with three territories. And you just need a fraction of that to have a very large business.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunities, and we have ways to get in front of those customers.
Love it. So talk a little bit about that lead machine. What is it? A combination of digital marketing and I mean, what are you doing for the franchisee? Everybody, myself as a franchise broker, consultant, people ask me every day, do they help me with marketing? And we hope the answer is, well, of course they're going to help you. To what degree there are brands that help you more than others?
Sure. So along the lines that most brands do, they'll talk about the search engine optimization, the Facebook leads, the pay-per-click leads. We do all of those. We do them very well. Sales and marketing is really my happy place. It's something that I enjoy digging into, the return on ad spend and just the small tweaks to campaigns to make sure that they're getting better and better as we go along. We're going to take the same exact campaigns that we do locally that we've been running since 2017 and deploy them in the other markets. Um, the the secret lead machine is something that I don't want to talk about here, honestly, but we have ways for the franchisee to find the people that are in market for that product. And we have someone that's an assistant for them who calls these people full time to develop
The
these relationships.
secret sauce.
It is a secret sauce, and they can get anywhere between 10 to 15 appointments per week set up by the system that we've set up. So it's very
Love it.
strong. We launched it the first time in Huntsville, Alabama, was our first franchise system to open up. And within 2.5 weeks, they had over 100 people in their pipeline.
Yeah.
So not all of those are going to turn into customers, but if I can get a franchisee in front of 100 people within a month of launching, they're going to be in a good spot. And then the rest is going to be up to them to follow the sales process to close deals and to grow their business.
Yeah, sounds like a great plan. Now that you have franchisees, what is that validation process like? So as a franchisee is going through the process, maybe before they're going to meet the team day in Austin, um, what is that process like where, I mean, now you have some new franchisees, obviously. Are people able to speak to existing franchisees about their experiences thus far?
They are, yes, we love our franchisees. They love us. They're more than happy to share what they've learned along the way. And we encourage prospective franchisees to talk to these people who are in the weeds, so to speak, that are going through the process, whether they're open and selling or whether they're somewhere in between. We have prospects talk to our existing franchisees once per week on what's called a validation call. So this is a multi-person call on Zoom. It's scheduled once per week. We have been rotating through our franchisees just to not bombard them, with being expected to talk every single week. So we've been rotating through our existing franchisees, and they love hopping on, telling you about the brand, their experience. It's a chance for them to talk about me without me listening, which is nice to hear
Yeah.
from existing franchisees. So yes, once per week they join these calls. They get all their questions answered, and then after that, coming to Austin would be the next step.
Yeah. No, that's great. So now that you're a franchisor for how many years now?
Two.
2 years. So what are the sort of reflections or the lessons that you've learned? Obviously a great way to build a business. What are your thoughts now?
Sure. Uh, the thing that comes to my mind is the fact that I tried to do franchise development on my own by myself with one other person for an entire year. And it just gave me a great respect for the franchise business coaches that are out there, that guide people through that life changing experience. Right? It's different than buying a house or buying something else. This is someone's livelihood, and I feel like there's more to it than just a material something.
Yeah.
So I just have great respect for franchise development professionals to help them identify and select a good brand. And I just wanted to share that. Like Lance, you've been in the business a long time, and
Yeah.
you've helped a ton of people. And I just really respect people like you that are able to guide someone in the right direction and help them make a good
Thank you.
decision that's going to impact their future. So if I were to do it again, I probably would have told myself you're not a professional in this and to hire someone. I probably would have hired and wanted to work with someone in franchise development to help me before
Yeah.
doing it on my own. So
Well, you're doing it now, and you're obviously doing it right, and you're going to be adding a lot of new franchisees. So talk about that growth and development plan. How do you stay, controlled, so to speak, because you're getting hot.
yes, which feels good, but we're also being very selective on who we bring in. It's tough to turn down a franchise fee for anyone. It's a pretty big check. But what's more important to me is bringing in the right people that I know are going to grow the brand correctly. So we plan to end the fiscal year of 2024, with 40 territories total and around 25 franchisees. So we're already hiring. We're already staffed for that amount. The onboarding coordinators, the marketing assistants, the sales trainers, the design trainers, people in operations. We're staffed for that amount, and we're always going to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
So
I
that's going
love
to be the
that.
growth this year. Like anything in life, when you do something a few times, you have a few reps, you learn things from it. And I want to grow a little bit slower so that I can have the experience for the next person even better than the franchisee
I
before.
love that.
We're in a great place for that.
Yeah, I love that you're being responsible. So final thoughts, final words of wisdom or tips for those listening, Michael?
Final tips. I think if you're looking to franchise or looking to buy into a franchise brand, I would say reach out to Lance. And there's a lot of brands out there. Honestly, if it's not cabinets and countertops, there might be a better fit for you. Cabinets and countertops isn't necessarily the sexiest cookie craze or gym concept, but it's a very stable business that will always be around. And no matter what happens in the economy, people are on average going to remodel their homes every 20 years. So that business is always there. So
Yeah.
it's an exciting industry for us to be in. We love our franchisees and look forward to the growth of new ones. And happy to chat with anyone as they go through the process.
Michael, you were awesome. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your story.
Thank you, Lance. Appreciate you.
If you're ready to talk about franchise opportunities, hit the link below to schedule a call. My services are free. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.